Look, I'm not saying it ain't fun to go play Tier 1 LARPerator in the woods with your best buddies, flogging each other to SEAL Team 6 reruns, but maybe you should be a little more practical about what you carry. Let's just be honest. The idiots in charge are plunging this world closer and closer to the actual snot hit the fan scenario. But you may be doing snot hit the fan rifle wrong. Given the fascination lately with the end of the world and doomsday apocalyptic scenarios, there's an alarming trend in the 2A community, or in the prep community, or in America or wherever, of people overcomplicating their snot hit the fan rifles. Let's call it your snot rifle, your go-to snot rifle. See so many people at the range or online or wherever rolling out looking like they're Tier 1 rejects for the next David Boreanaz action flick. In the snot hit the fan scenario, resources, supplies, resupply, electronics, batteries, the whole 9 yards, all of those things are going to be extremely hard to come by. And you don't have a budget the size of most small countries' GDP like a Tier 1 unit does. So you can't compete with them in gear, rifles, setup, and equipment and hope that you're going to actually maintain that in an actual apocalyptic breakdown of society. Context: the end of the world as we know it. Everything's going crazy. Society has devolved into chaos. The tribes are running the streets, and government is pretty much defunct. You know, can't count on police, can't count on government, all that stuff. That's what we're talking about here. Let's not hit the fan rifle. Little parachutes dropping from the skies with commies in them. Let's break it down like this. Number one, if your go-to rifle is battery dependent in its optics, lasers, lights, and all those things, it's too complicated. Optics can break, great, wonderful. Battery powered optics are gonna go out, period. It's your red dots and all that stuff, they're gonna go out. EMP, can you protect them? Probably not. Lasers, PEX, and all that crap, and night vision, all these fancy thermals and all that, batteries die. Okay, you have about 24 to 48 hours of operating before your batteries are dead. Flashlights, batteries are dead in 1 night of operating. You've got everything but the kitchen sink hanging off of this rifle, and all of it's going to be useless paperweight crap within 24 to 48 hours. So having all that superfluous crap on your rifle, probably not a good idea. It's just going to be paperweight. The longer you spend in the military, the more time you spend running around, running and gunning with gear, the more you start stripping crap off your rifles that doesn't actually matter or doesn't actually need to be there. So for me, the perfect snot hit the fan rifle is something uncomplicated. That's my first point. Uncomplicated without all the extra accessories and superfluous fluff. Now, what's a good option for optics? I'm glad you asked. My favorite option for optics? Iron sights. They don't run out of batteries. Iron sights like this are very hard to break, and they do not run out of batteries. Picking a rifle that has iron sights, at least as a backup, might be a good idea. Oh, and train with those iron sights. Get proficient with shooting with them both at close range CQB style shooting and at longer or intermediate ranges, where you might actually find target engagement distances out to 300 or 400 meters. That's a good idea to practice with those type of optics. Option number 2 for sights on your rifle. Low power variable optics. A good investment. They are simple, inexpensive. In a lot of cases, you can find a good simple one for inexpensive. This is the US Optics TS8. Yes, the US Optics TS8. It's a 1-to-8 variable power. It has a Christmas tree type of reticle in it for different ranges and stuff like that. It's pretty inexpensive optics, and it's very reliable and rugged. You can count on this thing to get you through a lot of stuff in a snot hit the fan scenario where you're potentially going to be involved in some rugged activities, let's call it that. Having something like this as a primary with iron sights as your backup, sweet deal. That's an actual rig that you can carry and use in a lot of scenarios, end of the world or otherwise, EMPs, whatever, and not really worry too much about having a sighting system for your rifle, which is kind of critical. If you really want to go crazy, something a little bigger like this, full power, medium range, variable optics. Battery dependent or not, it doesn't matter. Illuminated reticles are wonderful, but they're not dependent on the illumination, and that's a beautiful thing, like red dots do. Red dots, once the battery's out, it's out. Some of them will last a long time, a lot of them are going to die very quickly, especially with consistent heavy use. So having an actual aiming system that is magnified on your rifle that is not illumination dependent, a-okay. All right, let's talk some other points. Weight. How much do you want to carry around? Do you want a 15-pound tactical cool guy rifle, or are you looking for something 7-8 pounds, something a little lightweight? It's like this pistol. You can lug around a little easier in the woods. You can stow in a pack easier and carry on your back. Keep it in mind. You don't want a 15 to 20 pound rifle in most cases if you're lumbering around in the woods or you're in the snot hit the fan scenario and running for your life from the zombies. Next for your consideration, mechanical complexity. What type of rifle are you going to have? Bolt action, semi-automatic. What type of semi-automatic? Obscure rifles like the SKS, FAL, and stuff like that are not super common, unless they are common in your area, may not be the best choice. Are you going to be able to find parts and components to fix, repair, or keep running your rifles? Something to consider. Something along the lines of an M1A or something like that might actually be a good option. But magazines, you got to consider magazines and parts availability for that kind of stuff too. Even though it is a popular rifle in a lot of shooting circles, are there going to be parts for it? AR-15s, much more ubiquitous, way more parts. It's kind of leading the pack when it comes to the best type of all-around rifle. Bolt actions, super simple, mechanically uncomplicated. But a lot of them don't have iron sights or not built with iron sights in it, so you're dependent on your optics, your scope. If that breaks, what do you got? If I were going to go with a bolt action, I might go with one of the more ubiquitous type of bolt actions that I'm relatively sure I could find parts for. That's going to be your cheap rifles like the Ruger Americans, your Remington 700s, pretty much the most ubiquitous bolt action rifle on the planet right now. So finding bolts and parts that can make it operable or repair it, probably going to be pretty easy. Calibers. Let's talk calibers. The more abstract the caliber, the more niche or the more Gucci the caliber, the harder it is going to be to find ammo for this thing. So I personally would keep to, for an actual snot hit the fan rifle, something I'm grabbing as I go, I would keep to a more ubiquitous or universal cartridge out there that can still be effective for a broad range of uses, from hunting to self-defense. 223, maybe, but probably not. 300 Blackout. 300 Blackout's a good option that is kind of ubiquitous in the AR platform, and it gives you a little more punch, a little better hunting cartridge, close range, a little better CQB. It's almost useless long range though. To consider these factors, what are you going to need in the broadest sense out of your caliber? A 223 is not actually a bad option because you can hunt with it. This is not a hunting specific rifle, okay? So let's just keep it in perspective. This is a self-defense, this is a squirrel getter, this is a meat getter, and at the end of the day, if you need to kill deer with a 223 or game, you can. So it's a great option for a caliber. 308, another great option. I love the 308. It's one of those cartridges, it is ubiquitous. It fits in multiple styles and types of platforms, pretty much interchangeably. It has all the effect you need on game from near to far, and it's definitely good at self-defense. The drawback to it is weight and complexity of platforms. If you think about an AR-10 platform, it's a little more complex, a little more cantankerous and finicky than you might want out of a ultra reliable grab it and go snot hit the fan rifle. Also, with the AR-10 platforms, it's not standardized. There's a lot of versions and variants out there, so finding parts and ubiquitous groups of internals that you can swap and keep your rifle running may be a little bit harder. Alright, those are just my thoughts, all in good fun. Sometimes people take the game playing a little too far, trying to be too much Delta Force Special Operations Ninja Ranger Navy SEAL Sniper, and a little less practical than they need to be. I would say dial it back, be a little more practical, identify for yourself what could make you a very good snot hit the fan rifle that you can grab and go comfortably, usefully, and practice with it. This has been Apocalypse Delusions with yours truly, Caleb White the Knife Maker. Thank you for joining me again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and leave it below. Leave your opinion below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you for joining me again. Y'all be good.